Hello, I'm Chef Johnny, and this is Texas Style Barbecue and Cuisine. Today I got a very special dish for you. We're going to make one of my favorite salsas. It is roasted corn and poblano peppers. Now, getting started on this salsa, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to roast my corn. And it's a really easy process. One thing you want to remember though is try to leave the shuck intact. So don't tear the leaves off, because we're going to use the shuck to help whenever we roast these corn ears. So just pull them all back. That one broke off, and if it's not as fresh of a corn, sometimes they will break off. But we're just going to try to pull these back the best we can. Get down to the corn, get all the silks off, pull them down low. You'll see I'm trying to get them as low as I can, because we're going to actually put these over the fire in a minute and roast them up. So just like this. There we go. Now I can take my corn silks, pull those off. We can throw all those away. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put this right over the fire. And I'm going to toast the outside of these. I want to get them nice and black on the outside. I'm just going to lay this corn right over the top of the fire. And we're just going to start toasting it up and trying to turn these. You can see it's already starting to turn black. But we just want a nice blackening of these corn kernels. This recipe actually calls for 4 ears, but these were very small ears, so really we're going to use about 6. Because these were so small. And you can see how easy these toast up. It's not a real hard process. And that's why we pull the shuck so low, so we can toast these lower kernels. That looks pretty good. So now I'll show you the next step. Now all I'm going to do is take my corn and fold my shucks back over it. And that will help protect it. This one we lost some of the shucks on, but try to cover them the best you can with the shucks. We're going to take these down, put them in a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes. And while they're baking in there, I'll get the other ingredients ready. Next thing we're going to do is roast up our poblano peppers. This is a poblano, very flavorful. It's got the flavor of like a bell pepper with a little bit of heat, but it just has a lot more flavor. We're going to roast these and toast them so that we can pull the skins off and have that charred flavor in our salsa. I've already done that step, but I have a video on how to do this. So if y'all will, I'll put a link below and you can go to see how to roast a pepper. I'm doing a red bell pepper, and that one's going to work the same way with these poblanos. But I have 4 of those already been roasted, deseeded, diced up, so they're ready to go. So that would be your next step in the process. I'm going to move that out of the way, and then we're going to go down. The next thing I'm going to do is just chop my tomatoes. I have some nice medium-sized tomatoes, and I'm going to cut them right through the stem. Then I'm going to cut that stem out. Nobody wants to eat the stem of tomatoes. So anytime you're making a salsa, cut that little stem out. Some people call it the belly button. Just get that out of there. And I'm going to get these diced up, and then we'll get on to the next step. But it's pretty easy. Just cut it in half that way. Give me a few strips here. Turn them. And that's how we're going to dice up our tomatoes. Let me get them all diced up, and I'll get back with you. Now I'm just going to take my tomatoes I had diced up, drop them into my bowl. Just using so you'll hear people call these a board scraper. Actually, they're a dough cutter for working bread, but they work great for cleaning off a board also. Tomatoes are in. Now, next item is our onion. It calls for 2 medium onions. Didn't find any medium ones, so I've got 1 great big onion. So we're just going to dice it up. Usual way. You can look at my video on how to dice an onion. I'll put a link down there below. Bring our bowl back. Gather up our onions. I can go ahead and take my poblano peppers, drop them in. next thing we're going to do is we're going to dice up our bell peppers. Now, recipe calls for a red and an orange. The grocery store didn't have any orange, so I got a yellow. It blends a little bit with our corn, but not that bad. It's a little more vivid yellow. But orange works really nice to give you the nice lively colors that we have in this salsa. So I'm just going to take these and dice them up. Again, I'll put a link below on how to dice a bell pepper. It'll be in my description down below, and y'all can follow that link to see how that's done. But we're just going to take these and we're going to cut off the top of the bottom. Top's off, bottom's off. Now I can just do a random chop across the bottom, sideways, don't waste what's on top. Cut that top. All I leave on it really is just the stem area. I will chop those up. I'm going to finish cutting up this. You can see that on my other video. I'll put the link down there. But let me get these 2 bell peppers chopped up, and then we'll go on to the next step. We have the bell peppers in with our other ingredients. It is time to put in our chili peppers. And what we're going to use is we're going to use 3 Serrano peppers. They've got some nice heat to them, and I'm going to use 3 jalapenos. If you don't want it as hot, use all jalapenos. And you could use, 2 or 3 or 4, whatever you wanted. You don't have to use all 6 peppers. But I'm going to go with 3 and 3 to get a little more heat in it today. And I'll show you how our corn's ready. So let me get the corn out real quick, and then I'll show you how to dice up these peppers. Corn's out and cooling, so let's get on how to chop these up. And I'm going to take my Serrano. I'm going to leave the seeds in. I'm just going to take the stem off of each one of the Serranos. And I'm going to cut it right down the middle. Just like that. Take this next one. Sometimes these are nice and straight. Sometimes they're round. It makes it a little tougher. But since they're round, I'm just going to cut them there. And we want to dice these up very small. And one reason why, you can put it in a food processor even if you wanted to maybe. I don't want anybody to get a big chunk of pepper while they eat this. I want some little pepper spread all the way through it. So we're going to take that, and then we're just going to take them and get your fingers curled up so you don't get them under your knife. And we're going to cut a very, very small julienne cut, a stick-like cut that is very small. And then we're going to take the other side, do the same thing with it. Let that knife work against your knuckle. That way you don't get a finger underneath it. Now I can take these very thin strips and go sideways with them. And get a small, small dice. I'm just going to run back through here a couple of times to mince these up real little. Because again, I don't want that big pepper in there. I have 2 more Serranos to go, but let me show you how to do a jalapeno before that. Basically, it's the same process. Take a nice big jalapeno, take the stem off. We're going to cut it right through the middle, and then again, cut it into thin julienne strips, seeds and all, and again, very thin. Take this one, keeping that bear claw position on your fingers. Here we go. Small dice. Oh, you can really tell the smell of the 2 peppers are very different. They give off a different aroma. And they are going to be wonderful in this salsa. Take those off, and again, let's run that knife back through there just to get them a little bitty. Again, I don't want any big chunks of pepper in this salsa. Let me get the rest of my peppers diced up, and then we'll get right back to it and let y'all see what we do next. Getting up the last of these minced up peppers, putting them into our bowl, and we're on to the next step, and that is our lime juice. I have the juice of 2 limes. To pour it in, and then our garlic. I've got 4 big cloves of garlic, and I'm going to run this through a garlic press. I don't like spending time mincing garlic, so this works great. We're just gonna take these big cloves, drop them through, get right back with you. Our corn has had time to cool down so that we can handle it, but the kernels are gonna be nice and soft. And all we're gonna do is cut the kernels off of the cob. So just take your knife, cut deep enough to try to get the whole kernel. Cut all these off. Like I said, this recipe calls for 4 nice big ears. Didn't have 4, so I'm probably gonna use 6 today. Just like that, 1 strip left. There we go, that corn's ready. Let me get another one done. So pour your shucks back. They've been protecting it in the oven so it didn't get too hot and dry out. And we just come in here and cut them off. Let me get the rest of these kernels cut off the cobs, then we'll get back with you. All of the corn kernels are off of the cobs, and as you can see, it's nicely chopped up, and you just have the black and the yellow and the white kind of run through it as you see the different colors of this. We'll take my bowl, just scoop it up and drop my corn right up on top of all of my peppers and onions and tomatoes. Corn's in, last ingredient, cilantro. Have a nice fresh bunch of cilantro, and I'm going to take about half of this bunch, and I don't want any big stems. I want the leaves. The smaller stems are fine up close to the leaves, but nothing big. And I'm going to cut that off about right there. So I got about half a bunch of cilantro, and the way you do this is take it and kind of wad it up and roll it. Wad it up and roll, wad it up and roll. Now you have a little bunch of cilantro here, and you can take your knife and make just thin cuts all the way through it. Kind of similar maybe to a chiffonade cut, not quite, but similar. Don't want any great big pieces of cilantro. Sure enough, no big pieces of stem, but that's looking pretty good. So take my scraper, drop it into my bowl. Now we're ready to give this a stir, see how it turned out. So here's our salsa. I'm just going to start stirring everything together. And as you can tell, this is just vivid colors. It's beautiful. And I'm going to add some salt to it. Oh, maybe 2 teaspoons of salt. I just kind of play this by ear. Remember, you can always add, can't take it out. So we're going to try this, see how it turned out, and then we'll see if we need to add any more. Everything's stirred really well. Let's get a chip, give it a try, just to check our seasonings. I think I'd use a little bit more salt. So it might be almost, no, I don't think a tablespoon, but a little over 2 teaspoons. Do another try. It's got a great taste to it now. Now remember, 9 out of 10 times, if you taste something, you go, oh, that needs something, it's either salt or acid. In this case, I added salt. I could have added more lime juice and got that acid level up. But usually, that's what you're looking for if you think something's missing, acid or salt. So let me get this plated up and we'll let you see how we serve this. To serve this up, I've got a nice sombrero tray with some corn chips in it. And I'm just going to take my salsa and it goes right in the top of my sombrero. And there we go. And that looks real pretty. Get that out of the way. This is a beautiful salsa. Vivid, vivid colors. We have the tomatoes. We have the different colored peppers. We have the roasted corn. So you have all that flowing through it. You also have those tremendous flavors from a sweet pepper to a hot Serrano pepper. Jalapenos in between. We have the roasted Poblano, so there's all kinds of flavors going on here. We have won awards with this salsa before. It's a good one. I hope you give it a try. I'm gonna take another bite of it here real quick. Let's see how this turns out. Very, very good salsa. Again, tastes tremendous. It's an old recipe. We use it all the time here. We came up with it years ago. We always bring it back because a big request by faculty and staff here at the school. If you like this, go down there and give me a thumbs up. I will appreciate that. Remember to subscribe to my channel, click the notification bell. Tell your friends and family about us. Let them know what's going on Texas Style Barbecue and Cuisine. And we're going to see you down the road.
Cookie strikes the bell and he rings the world a warning. How them boys put food away beats all I've ever seen.